my name is AMorris, and I did my senior thesis project on the crosses between the mental health system and the judiciary system, the problems it causes, and how we can fix it. So I started my project last summer 2015, with the then Commonwealth Attorney of AMorris in East Lansford. Her office is to the far right, and I spent a little less than half my time there reading over case files, listening on phone calls, hearing discussions between court officials and detectives. And my little over half of my time was spent in the actual courtroom watching a ton of different cases. I started my week with the Monday morning misdemeanor docket and the Tuesday morning traffic docket, which means that on Monday I spent 3 to 4 hours listening to back-to-back cases of different traffic violations, running a red light, speeding, things like that. Or no, sorry, that was Tuesday. And Monday on the misdemeanor docket, little things, petty theft, small amounts of illegal drugs, such as marijuana, things of that nature. I then moved up to a jury trial case where I got to watch a jury trial where 2 women were accused of stealing steaks from a broker. And then my most exciting case was getting to watch Mr. Matthews, meeting Mr. Matthews in one of his very first trials where we set up the future dates, and originally his case was supposed to last in the summer of 2017. So I realized I chose my internship because that's what I wanted to do. Since 8th grade, I wanted to be a lawyer. And I realized that I'm very good at arguing with my sister in the living room. I am not interested in standing up for hours and logically talking back and forth and discussing something with someone who has extremely valid points. So what I realized I was really interested in was how Ms. Lunsford acted behind the scenes with a lot of the defendants, especially the ones who were mentally ill. And this led me to my senior thesis paper. And I realized that there are a lot of mentally ill individuals in the prison system. There are 2.2 million individuals in our prison systems in the U.S. today. And of that, 50% have stated that they have observed some sort of mental illness or depressive episode. And when the study was done by the Federal Bureau of Justice Statistics, it was found that 20% of those individuals really are mentally ill. They are experiencing schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, etc. This means that there are 6 times more mentally ill individuals in the prison system than there are in the general population. Another problem that arises is money. So those 2.2 million individuals is costing the taxpayers and the government $70 billion a year, accounting for their food, their activities, their clothing, where they're living. So that means that each individual costs $31,818. So if we got the 20% of mentally ill individuals that are in the prison system out and got them help, we would be saving ourselves $13,999,920,000 every year. Another big problem with having mentally ill individuals in the prison system is that they are more likely to recidivate. This means that they are more likely to be charged again with another crime after being released from jail for their first crime. 30.2% of individuals who are mentally ill recidivated within 3 years of being released in a study done in 2014 that was concluded in 2014, while only 21.2% of individuals, the general population. So my 3 solutions for this, the first 2 was medication reforms and implementing a mental health court. We'll start with mental health court. That would basically be a traditional court, and we would still have judges and lawyers and jury members, but the police personnel, the judges, the lawyers, everyone would have some sort of psychological training, psychology background, and there would be a psychiatrist somewhere in the room able to testify. This would allow us to get them help, such as counseling and medication, instead of sending them to jail, which obviously doesn't work with our recidivism rates and can actually cause them more harm. So you would be, the individual would be forced into a community service and counseling aspect of their rehabilitation, and then afterwards, depending on the crime that they committed, they would do community service or go to jail for a certain amount of time. Along with this, we would have medication reforms. So right now, we don't have the newest, best drugs in our prison systems because of the health cost. And it also causes withdrawal symptoms when individuals cannot have the medication they're currently on, or they are switched from prison system to prison system and have to change medications. Also, using medications that are not correct or are not the right dosage can cause tardive dyskinesia, which basically means that it causes your nervous system to shut down, you can't speak, you're spasming, very painful. So my third solution was a little closer to home, and in 2005, a crisis intervention team was implemented in the Charlottesville-Albemarle area, and it was supposed to train 50% of the Charlottesville-Albemarle police personnel by 2009, and then from 2009 to 2010, it was supposed to train 20% of the rest of the Thomas Jefferson area personnel. It never really went through. They implemented it, and then nothing came of it. Very few of the police personnel near us are trained, so my third solution was to re-implement the crisis intervention team and actually train everyone in the force. The officers, the 911 dispatchers, resource officers, and to make sure that not just 50%, but all of them at some point receive this training and not let the plan fall through. This led me to my community service, where I spent countless hours, close to 10 to 15 hours, working online with 2 University of Virginia psychology graduate students. We completed a presentation on the mental health awareness in teens, and then we held an assembly in the PAC here at William Monroe, where we spoke to a little over 200 students about all the common mental illnesses in teens, the stigma of mental illness, seeking treatment, helping a friend. The presentation lasted about 45 minutes, and then we followed up with an anonymous question box where I had people anonymously, about a month preceding the event, were able to insert questions into an anonymous box. We answered those, and then honestly, with much to my surprise, I had 15 to 20 questions back to back. The question and answer session taking just as much time as my actual presentation because of the peer feedback and how interested everyone was. And this also led me to my legacy when I realized that I want to come back and I want to help this. And I also realized that I made a difference. People came up to me afterwards asking for the presentation, asking for how they can get help. A lot of my graduate students that came, Alexander Warrens and Audrey Wittrock, were able to reference them to someone. And I even had people thank me for saving their lives that day. So next year, I plan to be attending James Madison University, studying psychology, and I hope to one day become a child psychiatrist. My advice to the future students would be to choose something you're passionate about. I was passionate about law, realized I wasn't, and chose my next passion, which was psychiatry, and I loved it. It didn't seem like a project. It was not another high school grade. It was something that taught me something and had a major impact on my life and my future. My second little feedback to my future students would be to not hate Ms. Newman. She is very helpful, and she may make you rethink your thesis question 7, 8, 9 times. But when you get it, it'll be a good one, it'll be a strong one, and you'll have a great paper. Are there any questions?
Are there, sorry, Mom, I didn't need that. Are there any mental health courts actually in the works now anywhere?
So it is a very new thing. One of the first ones was in Texas, and one of the ones that gave me my recent studies that I used in my paper a lot was one that was recently implemented in Orange County, California. There's one in Tennessee. But they're popping up, and it's usually you choose. You can either, if you have been screened and have a mental illness, they would allow you to choose to go through a traditional court and go to jail, or to receive the treatment and get help and then do your time after.
One more question. Do they monitor your medication to ensure you stay on it?
Yes. Your medication is monitored, your hours in counseling is monitored, everything is monitored. Yes.
How do you adjust for that in the fact that these are adults? You can't force somebody to take medication.
Yeah. So that was part of the reason that it's optional. So we've been screened and you're allowed to be in the court system. If you do not follow it, they send you right back and you have another trial and you are put into the traditional court system. So it's basically, if you want to fix yourself, you can fix yourself.
Would you suggest the same solution option you talked about for these mental health offenders who committed non-violent minor crimes, the same for those who commit more serious violent crimes?
Yes. So one of the big things with the mental health court is after they have received their treatment, they go back in front of the court and say it's a minor crime, they stole something. Then they do an hour to a community, they do the community service. If they murdered someone, they get the help, and then maybe instead of, 3 life sentences, they have like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they have less, it's like a plea deal. They have less because they got the help. Yes.
Where would you propose that the 20% that they were taken out of the penal system, where would they be housed?
So the different mental health courts in different states work differently. Some of them have special housing for the individuals. I hate to compare it to this, like a frat house where they can all stay and get the help. And then if, like he said, if they don't commit a major crime, they are allowed to complete the service in their community, which is also a big part of the rehabilitation, coming back to the community and helping the community.
The CIT, the Crisis Intervention Team,
Yes.
they worked the first time. What makes you think it'll work this time? What would you have to change?
So there wasn't much that said why it didn't work. And I assumed that it didn't work because it was not forced and implemented. It was kind of an idea and they were like, yeah, that's a great idea. Here you go. I think that we need to say, here's an idea, but you have to do it. Go in waves, taking the personnel, police personnel and training them in waves, getting them out there, like actually making it a law. It has to be done. And not just, mine was for the local police stations, but I definitely think that eventually it should be nationwide.
Great, thank you.